first part of the journey, I was tripping around, you see. And then I found some gold in the ground. I got the fever inside me. The first thing I found was a mine with no name. It felt good to be high on the green, 'cause in the mine you can't remember your name. So awesome sauce became the claim. La 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 la. You're mining for gold, but you're doing it all wrong. And I have to tell you now, there's another way. Empire Gold Mining, they can show you how, and we'll even have some fun along the way. We're having fun mining gold down in the sun. Digging in the dirt is what we do. It's not really hard, don't be a puss, get in your car. Come on out to Vegas today.
Alright folks, so what I got here is a bunch of those sulfides. What I'm going to do with them is I'm going to roast them off. I'm not even going to clean it. I'm just going to shove it just like this into my roasting crucible. And I'm just going to roast some off, leaving, you know, everything but the sulfur. And yes, I will be washing my hands here in a minute. I should have gloves on, but I don't care. You can see a lot of the sulfide metals right there. Okay, so I'm going to take this over to where I'm going to be working. The way I work with this is I take this and I'm going to put it into my makeshift crucible. You could crush it first if you want to. Doesn't make too much difference. It's all going to get up over 800 degrees and burn away that sulfur anyhow. So I'll put it in here. I'm probably going to crush it down a little bit here in a second with something. I'll use this, which is part of my backstop for my burner. Alright, so get it in there. Get it in there real good. So this is my burner here. The way this is gonna work is I've got an inlet here where my air is gonna be forced in. This is gonna be holding my crucible. It's gonna have charcoal underneath and around to keep the heat in where it needs to be. So I'm going to crush the rest of that down again. I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I've done that, I've got it full. What I want to do is I want to take my charcoal, fill it up right here, both sides, left, right, middle. The more you can get in here, the better. I'm going to put that right on top of this. I'm gonna move that piece of charcoal because it gets in the way of my stand. I put it right in here, right on top, just like that. As long as I have it set in here right, it's not gonna flop over or anything when the coal burns away. So that's sitting where I want it. Now I'm gonna take my larger pieces, I'm gonna pat them around it because that's gonna give it a lot more heat. That's what you need here, a lot of heat. So get your charcoal packed in there as much as you can. You could even put some on top here. It's not gonna hurt anything. Now it'd probably be best if I had a better backstop back here, but that's somewhere else right now. I guess I could go find it. Yeah, I think I will. I'll go find my other piece that goes over this real quick. Hold on. Okay, well the backstop I was looking for wasn't where it was supposed to be, so I'm gonna use this. Now the next thing you want to do is you're going to want to saturate your area with fluid, and then let me get my air, hook that up real quick. That way that's ready to go, but you don't need that until after you've lit your fire anyhow. But I just want to have it ready so it's ready to go. Okay, so saturate with fluids for starting. Make sure you get it really well down to the bottom. Right, that should be good enough. I don't know if I have a lighter in my pocket. I don't think I grabbed it. Alright, I do. So that just fell over. I'll get him back over here. Just get your charcoal lit. Just like you would with the normal barbecue, you know. Let it go. We're just gonna let that cook and cook until all the charcoal's gone. Those sulfides, but they'll start, you know, burning away, making a lot of, you know, stinky smoke. Got plenty of wind today, taking in everything away from me, so I'm happy about that. I'm not gonna turn my air on yet, but I'll show you what that does here in a few minutes. Once that's stopped, you know, burning like that, you don't really need to stoke a fire when it's got the fuel on it. So it's got plenty of wind stoking it right now anyhow. But I'll come back here in a few minutes to show you what it's looking like. Hit that pause button. So I'm back out here to check on it, and it's doing pretty good. It's getting nice and hot. It's not fully lit or anything, but it'll do better here in a minute. Might help if I hook up the blower to the blower rather than the sucker. Oops, that sucked. Alright. Alright, so that's just going to blast away at that for, you know, a couple of minutes. I'm probably going to throw a few more pieces of coal in there just to help it out, but that makes it burn, you know, 10 times faster. It'll burn through the metal this way by doing that also, so this probably won't be lasting past today. So I'm going to go grab a couple more pieces of coal for the fire while it's stoking itself, and this should be about 8 minutes, if not less, from now. So I'll be back to show you as it keeps going. Alright, so it's going about how I want it to. Not seeing much come off the sulfides right now. It's a little bit coming off the top. You see a little bit of the white burning away off the sulfur, but I already put another piece of charcoal in there. So, as you can tell, the paint has burnt away on the container, mostly down. So, that tells you that it's getting pretty hot down there. Now you can do this with just about any type of sulfur-rich ore. You can do this with pyrite, all kinds of different ores. You can do this with just plain old gold ore if you really want to, and then just get your button of gold out from the bottom. but there we go. Looked like it was trying to fall over on me. Get everything in there as far as I can, close to it. The closer your heat source is to the crucible, the better. So, well, I'm gonna go inside for a little bit. I'll check back in on this here in a little while. Alright, so I'm back out here. I just wanted to show you guys. There's no crucible left here. See that? So that one didn't last long at all. And it looks like I'm gonna end up having to crush everything that's in there. But it seems that maybe most of the sulfides burned away. There's still a lot on the top. I'm gonna add a few more pieces up front here. This will be coming out here in a minute or two, or I'll show you what it looks like all crushed up after it's cooled off. But I'll have to do that on its own little video, because I'm running out of battery life. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a few minutes when it's all cooled off and I can show you. Thanks for watching. Alright, well, it's still a little warm in there. So what I'm gonna do real quick, this is cool enough to touch, but check out the colors that are on top here. Changed to a red rather than the yellow it was. Come on, seriously. It's stuck to that. Alright, so get that in there. Alright, so got that material in there. Check out what I did to the crucible, which it was just really thin steel from a propane tank, but I'm gonna leave that sitting in there. What I want to do is I want to get that in there. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get that though. I don't have my tongs out. Let me go grab a pair of pliers. Alright, well, this isn't a pair of pliers or anything, but maybe I can get it to come off of the. Yeah, it's not going to come off of there as easy as I wanted it to. Let me get these out of here. Alright. There's the coal. Get rid of that. Try and pick this up with these wire cutters. I'm going to try and put that directly into the water. Alright, I was able to get it good. Alright, so that's in there. A couple more small pieces I'm going to throw in. Hopefully this will mostly just dissolve all on its own. But really could be a lot more solid now than it was before I started. So, alright. Alright. Now, this stuff's just going to sit here and cool off. The water's nice and hot. Now, I'm going to make sure I crush even this piece of metal when I crush this up. Because there could be good stuff impregnated in there. And yeah, this is dissolving just like the other stuff did prior to anyhow. And it didn't burn off all the sulfides either. It just burned off some of it because I wasn't able to get it as hot as it needed to all the way around. Put too much material in the little crucible to start with. So, but I'll pan that out here in a little bit. Post that tomorrow. Alright, so that's what your sulfides will end up looking like after you've fired them. If you do it that way. The way should do it is, I'll show you that here in a minute, but putting any sulfides in their raw form like that is gonna destroy your crucible if it's metal. You can probably get away with it with ceramic, but anyhow, what I want to show you real quick is let me get some more of my sulfides here, and I'm gonna show you how I take care of those to break it down to a concentrate. So hold on while I fill my bucket. Now, hopefully my lighting out here is good enough for this to show you guys. So I got my concrete mixer on my drill, got my bucket of water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into there, and I'm going to run the drill in it. So I'll put some in there, and hold on. Just do that real quick. Alright, so now that's in there. Just want to give it a good mixing. Depends on how long it's going to take. I mean, this could take a minute, could take 2. But there's a lot of matter in there that's not going to break down. We're just trying to get rid of the phosphorus and the sulfur mostly. That's, still in there in its raw form. Alright, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and then I'll come back. The longer it sits, the softer they get. So, Dusty's over there playing with the rock again. Check him out. Got your rock? Come here. Come here. Sit down. Can I have the rock? Come on, man. Give me the rock. Yeah, there we go. Give me that rock. Yeah, you want your rock? Yeah? You can't catch that thing. Crazy dog. This is what makes him so tired, chewing on rocks. Too bad your tire's all chewed up, huh? You ruined that thing real quick. I'll get you a new one later. So that's probably, I've been soaking for just a couple seconds longer. Makes it softer. I can come back and do a little more. Now this liquid that's left, I'm dumping it in my fire pit. And then what I do is, when I'm not going to be using it with friends and family, I'll light a nice big, big ass fire in there, stoke it away, and let all the all the harmfuls burn off. So. Alright, so that's good enough for me. I'm going to let it soak for a little bit longer. I'll come back, do that again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into this bucket. which I'm going to rinse this bucket into here real quick. Get it all together, that way when I pour that into here through the screen to get all the larger rock out, I don't have to worry about rescreening a second time. You see that frothiness on top? Yuck. Pretty much all that is sulfur. There could be other stuff in here, but all right. So that's good enough. All right, so I'm going to take my screen, put it right in there. I'm going to dump this into here after I give it another one of these, because there's still a lot of solid matter in there, which is normal. That's why I'm going to screen it out. Alright. Looks like some of the concrete was coming off. I'm going to turn off my water real quick so I don't flood my fire pit. Thing is that my ground is almost solid clay out here. Makes it pretty much its own gigantic crucible if I build enough fire in there. So I'm just going to dump this one into here real quick. Alright, now I'm going to shake the bottom of my bucket so I can get the last of it out. Same way you would with any other, concentrate that you have in there. That's about what I have left right there. You can probably see a lot of the gold and platinum sulfides in there too. Looks like some cool gems and stuff. We'll see. Alright, let me finish this off real quick. Alright, so what I'm doing here, making sure my rocks are cleaned off real quick. I'm going to take these and I'm going to actually crush them up, because that stuff's usually got gold in it. So there's still a lot of the heavy sulfides there and in here, but I got all the nice big rock off, so that's a good plus. I'm going to put this into here by rinsing it with water into that after I dump it out. So we'll just get this out of here. Now I may lose some of my sulfides that I want to keep by doing that, but hey, I got a lot in there, you'll see. So I'm gonna get this rinsed together and take it over to my rock. I'm gonna put the hose directly in there and rinse it out completely. So I'll show you that. Let me just get moving around. Hold on. Look at all the foam floating in there. That's funny. Right, well, anyhow, I wanted to show you before I go over there the crystalline structures that it makes when you leave it in a bucket to dry. Now these are clean of all the heavy metals already. I just thought it'd be cool to let it dry out in a bucket and crystallize. The dog's eating my fence again. So I'm going to come right here, a little easier. Now hopefully that's been centered the way I want it to. so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to try and get a little more of the sulfur out. To do that, I'm just going to rinse it with water a few times. Gives me a cleaner product to put in the fire. Okay, so I'm shaking it like this so I can make the heaviers fall underneath the sand that's left. There's some sand left in here, as you can see. Some sand. So what I could do is I could take this, I could pan it off in a few minutes, but I want to get it nice and clean before I pan it. Alright, well, now I'm going to go do some panning, get this cleaned up even further. So, I guess I will be back in just a minute. Alright, so here I am at the panning station. That's plenty of water. Turn that down so I can rinse my bucket out easier. Alright, so take my bucket, take my pan. Love it when the bucket gets stuck. That happens when you put two wet buckets together, you know? Right, so I'm going to get this into the pan. Best I can. I'm not sure where that came from. Don't even have a baby anymore. Alright, so alright, so that's about half of the material that's in that bucket in my pan right there. So bring it over here. I'm just going to pan it as I would anything else. And yes, when you pan this material, you are going to lose some of it. That's why a lot of times you just fire it, roast off all the impurities. Alright, so this is a really heavy pan. Let's see how much is in there. There's so much. You can already see it when I shake it. There's a lot of copper here too. And green quartz. Now if there's any, solid pieces of gold in here, I'd actually be kind of surprised. But it's not unlikely. That's, right there is all the sulfides. It's about 9 ounces. Just guessing. But it looks like close to being around 9 ounces. Now if I repan everything in this bin, I'm going to get probably close to that amount there also. So let me get a pan, put that in. Right, no pan right here. Bucket's empty. I've got a pan right here. What is this? I'm just going to put it in the bucket. Alright, so shake it and just pretty much dump it straight in. So I'm going to get the rest of this material in there, pan it. It's going to be 2 pans, I'm guessing, and pan that, both of them. And I'll be back to show you guys how much, I got out of that, and then I'll show you the process of what I would do after. So let me get this finished, don't have much sunlight left, so hopefully I have enough time. Alright, so I just want to show you how much I've got left now. Dump this water out. Alright, so you see all that? That is all sulfide, gold and platinum and iridium and whatever the hell else is all going to be in there. But I'm going to show you guys how to roast that off here in a little bit. There's still a lot of it left in here. You can see it on the edges there. See that layer of it there? So there's still a lot of it in this. But anyhow, I've got that to show you what comes out of that. So I'll get that fired up here in a little bit. Show you guys what happens with that. And I'm going to have to do that on another video because my phone seems to be dead. So, compilation video coming up later. Okay, so I've got my concentrated down sulfides here. I'm going to add them to my pan here that I'm going to dry it with. That ought to help a little. Just gonna get it all out. Alright, so there's still a bunch in there. Now I'm going to go get some water and rinse this out into that so it's all in there. That way it dries there. Alright. Now, I've got some in there. Look at that. So, I'm just going to rinse the rest of this out down into here. Alright. So that's all in. I'm going to level it out by shaking it. Water is going to help a little. Alright, so turn off the water. Oh, excuse me, I burp. That is one big pan full of what I call heavy sulfides. I'm going to take this, I guess you can say roast it off again, just to get rid of all the extra sulfides. I'll show you how to do that probably tomorrow when it's daytime. Get a good view of the color and everything then. So I'm just going to set this in my barbecue for now. That way it can just sit there and dry out for a little bit. So, but I'm done with that for now. I'll show you the rest of it tomorrow. There's still a little bit of material in the panning tub. I'll probably pan that out tomorrow and get the rest of that out. Put that in with it. That way I get to show you guys the full amount of what came out. So I'll be back in the daytime to show you all that. So what I've got here is I've got those sulfides. I've already got lighter fluid on there. And this has got its lighter fluid. Alright, so now that that's started up, I'll put this right on top, like that. It's got more fluid, more charcoal. and the sulfides. And then we have the stupid dog. Alright, so that's going to sit there. It'll light itself up on top all on its own from the heat. And then in a little while I'll come back, check on it. I should have all of everything gone in the sulfur realm, and hopefully everything else that, you know, I don't want in there. So that's going to sit for, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe longer. We'll see. So as you can tell, it's already gotten hot enough to ignite the charcoal, but still gonna leave it on there for a little while. This is the sulfides from the other day that I ran through with the crucible. I still have to crush it down. A friend of mine has my crusher, so I can't do that yet. I'm not gonna sit here and try and crush it with a hammer or anything. So once I get the crusher back from Kevin, then I will crush this up and show you what came out of that after panning. That'll be all on this one show and video and everything. So here's that ore that I got from the secret location from when me and Kevin went out. There's some of the gold there. There's more of it right here. I don't have camera would focus on exactly the spot that I want. So here's the most revealing area. A lot of it's got copper in it, so it's a harder gold than what most people are used to finding and panning. It's easily confused with like chalcopyrite and other types of pyrite. But that's only because most people don't realize that copper mixes with gold and looks similar to pyrite. I wonder if all of these are even going to catch. Well, that's steaming away. That'll probably easily get up to 800. Just going to make sure these charcoal's light. Alright, there we go. That like those top charcoals. Make sure they light, because that's going to help heat from the top. So, alright, well, be back in a little bit. Alright, so it's still getting nice and toasty. But what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to pull everything from my sides in. That way it's all in the heat. Heat from bottom, heat from top. Hopefully all the coals stay lit. The moisture that was in the concentrates actually kept the charcoal from lighting. So that was a warm one. And so it looks pretty good. As you can see, the color has turned more of a goldish color now. Roasting this material actually much better than if you were to be roasting this. But when you roast stuff like that, you end up with this. You also ruin your crucible or whatever you're putting it in because of all the bad stuff in it. So anyhow, this has been washed of most sulfur, and then after washed, it's been concentrated and then roasted, so which is much safer. Look at that! I got a piece of sulfur in there. Get rid of that. Ooh, that is hot. All right, so I'll be back here in a little while. Show you, how it looks all finished up. All right, so what I've got here is a really hot pile. I'm gonna mix it up, make sure I got all the sulfides to burn away. Looks like they did for the most part. Now I'm getting a lot of ash in here, so no big deal. Get the heat back over here. That'll be good for that. And that's just gonna sit and cool off all on its own. Then I'll pan that out, show you guys what it all looks like. Then after that, it'll be ready to go to a refinery, which I might show that. Might show that. All right, so put some wood on top and had it burn out just to help. But now you see the color has changed a lot. What I'm going to do, I'm going to dump this directly into the water over here. Yep, still hot. And the reason I did that when it was still hot was to help fracture more of it apart. That, and it won't hurt anything. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just trying to get the last of the material that's stuck off the pan. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this off just to get rid of the ashes. It also washes it again so it gets, a true color. So let me go out front and show you what that looks like here in a minute. Alright, so I made it up front. I'm just going to rinse this out. I'm going to rinse it out, and then I'm going to dump it on my concrete this time. There goes some of the charcoal that was left. Now I'm going to put this in the pan and pan this off. So alright, so here it is in the pan. Now all of this is the sulfides that were there. It's the same material. I'm not too sure how it's going to react now. Normally I don't roast it myself, but it seems to react the same. Alright, there goes all the old sulfurs that were burnt off. And what's left is still semi-gold colored concentrates, which I can take this now to the fire refining stage and refine that down into, I don't know, could be something, could be nothing, no idea. Or I could run this through a chemical bath, which a chemical bath would actually yield a pure gold rather than a gold with other platinum group metals. So if you ever are refining your own gold or other metals, what you get is, from smelting, is a conglomerate metal, call it an alloy, of all of the metals that were in your material. Whereas when you go and you refine, you're using chemicals which are separating out each individual mineral and dropping them out individually in their own separate times, so that you can collect each one individually in its pure raw form. So there's a slight difference between smelting and refining, which most people don't realize that. But you can see the rest of the sulfur that's in there that cooked away, still in the water. That's why it's got that reddish color. So, and there's still, you know, some left in there that I didn't get out because there's so much in there that I'm working with. I'd have to use a float table to get it all out. So I'm gonna show you guys the next step here, and won't be today, it'll probably be tomorrow or the next day, actually farther on than that because I'm busy. But we'll get on to that as soon as I have a chance to. So I'll store this away somewhere where I can get to it easily, and we'll get back to that later. Alright everybody, so what I've got here is this sulfides that I concentrated the other day. And what I did is I just added some bleach to the water, which, you know, pretty much gets rid of a lot of the iron that's in there, hopefully. It also turned a lot of the copper green, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to take this out front where it's not so sunny, and I'm going to pan just the chlorine out of it. So I'll be right back with doing that. Alright, so figured I'd just pan inside, a little bit easier. It's kind of chilly outside. It's not cold, just chilly. So so I'm going to just set my material here for now. I'm not going to use that for panning. I got this pan right here. Alright, so gotta give it a good shake. I'm going to do this over the sink. Add a little bit of water to this. See all the rust that's coming out there? I'm going to take that and I'm just going to dump it into the sink slowly. See in the sink there, you can see some of the material loaded away. Alright, so I got rid of some of that rusty material from there. Not that it was even needed to be done, but still. All I really want to do is just get rid of the cloudiness and the rust. You can see a lot of the rust sitting on top there also. I'll show you how to get rid of that here in a second. Now you could get rid of the rest of that rust with chemicals if you wanted to, but alright, so I've got one of my homemade magnets. I'm going to go around, tappity tap everywhere, hopefully get as much of the iron that's left out. It's all that there. Now remember, this is the material from that sulfides. Most people wouldn't expect to find iron in sulfides either. But those people don't realize that there's more than they think in sulfides. Alright, so there's all the iron stuff that I got out with that pull. There's some of the other material in there that I want to keep also, but that's okay. So I'm going to dig around in here a little bit with this. Get as much of that iron out as I can, or any other magnetics to that. Lots of magnetics. Alright, so I feel I'm almost done with that. There's another bunch of it. So I guess there's more iron in here than I actually expected. I didn't think there'd be that much in here this time either. Usually I don't find that much iron. And this is not the stuff that I put with the crucible. Not at all. That stuff's still outside. I can show you that here in a little bit. Lots of good irons. Good big chunks of iron too. Now this material that's coming out, I could probably crush that. It probably, actually, might have some gold in that too. Just get in there, get all of it out as much as you can. It's hard to do this because this stuff's so heavy in here, so it's hard to mix around with this, but as you can tell, there's definitely a lot of these heavier materials in there, like this. That's like a solid chunk of iron right there, it seems like. Well, I'm back to this again. I'll be back here in a little while after I get it all done. Right now, this is the iron materials that were in there. That's about an ounce of, at least minimum of an ounce of that material. I still have about 12 ounces of the concentrates here. There's still a little bit of rust in there, but it's non-magnetic rust, so it'll float out easily. Next thing I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to take this, I'm going to screen it down to get all the rock out. Because the rock I don't really need in there with it. But I will most likely be crushing that rock to my little crusher because it could have something good in it. So, let me go get my screen. Right, so the screens I've grabbed are my 20 and my 40. And put them there, of course. And I'm going to pour water over it after I get my material in there. There's most of that material. It's a lot easier to do this with two hands, so I'll be right back after I get it in there. Well, that stuff was so heavy it was actually really hard to get it to come out of the pan, even with the water. So here's all my larger stuff. lot of that copper looks like it might have some gold in it. Definitely gonna be worth crushing this material right here. This is just the larger stuff that was non-magnetic that was in there. I can always screen this stuff and find out if there's any larger pieces of iron that I want to crush also, because sometimes that iron will be holding some gold. So now I've got this in my 40 screen. I'm going to give it a good shake. No reason not to separate it down just a little bit more as well, and make panning of whatever that's left easier. That and this larger material, actually it'll melt easier than the fines. So that's just about an ounce of material right there. There's a lot of copper left in it. You can see the color of the gold and stuff that's in there. Still some non-reactive, non-magnetic iron in there also, which is kind of going to be there no matter what. But now I've got right here, negative 40 mesh material, which is the bulk of what I have there. This I can easily pan it down and get whatever iron is on top out. Remember, your fine gold will move easily with this. The nice, smooth, soft movements are the most important ones to make when you're working with the fines, because it doesn't matter how heavy gold is, it moves with water. Water is a very powerful force when you have a lot of it behind itself. So just getting some of the lighter iron out, just have a cleaner melt of stuff. So I'm going to take this, I'll dry it, I guess, just to show everybody what it looks like dry. It'll have a much brighter gold color to it. You can see a lot of it floating right there, can't you? But anyhow, this stuff's all ready to go into a crucible and be fired at a high temp. So I'll show you guys that next. It's kind of the same as the first process that I did. I gotta see if I have any crucibles left. If I don't, I'll have to go redneck style and figure out. Won't be a can, that's for sure. But I gotta find something that's a little bit thicker steel that'll hold it. All right, talk to you guys all soon. That was a horrible fuzzy picture. Yeah, I'm back again without the crucible because I can't find it. So I guess the next thing I'll do is I'll just make an old style one of how I used to do it, rather than going and buying a graphite or anything like that. So I'll show you guys how to do that here in the next couple of days after I find the pieces that I need, and hopefully it helps you guys with whatever you're trying to do out there. But the one thing you got to remember with the crucible is, with this amount of material here, I'm going to need about 3 to 4 times this size of crucible to fit all of my material that I'm going to need for this next process. So if that were to say fit inside this cup here at about halfway, then I would need a crucible that's going to be able to fit, two full-size cups of that, which means that's gigantic crucible, and that's probably not going to be something that is easy to work with. So when I make one, I'll make more than one so that I can show this process done in a bulk size, but in an easier way than in a bulk way. That way you can do 3-4 ounces at a time, and then each crucible will have lined up next to each other that much in each of them. So, but otherwise you're stuck using a crucible that's tremendous in size, and that's a lot of times not something that you want to do. So we'll talk more about that here in a little while after I get all the stuff ready. Alright, so what I've got here, you guys, is my small little barbecue that I've been using as a kiln that you saw earlier, and I've got the fired sulfides. This is the largest pieces, and this one has the heaviest stuff in it, but the rest of it's all just in their own little crucibles in here waiting to be fired and all. So I'm going to set this up. I'm lighting it out front, and then I'm going to bring it in the backyard to finish off with the blower and everything. So here we go. I'm just going to burn it away get it started for now, and then I'll come back a few minutes, put it all going. A few more pieces of charcoal in there real quick. Alright, knocked one over. Bummer. I'll fix that. There we go. Alright, so that ought to be good enough. Now for the fluid. Now I have a ridge of charcoal down the bottom in the center, so I want to make sure I spray enough in there to get that ridge of charcoal also. So make sure you get your charcoal, well covered. Won't hurt to get a little bit of fluid in your matter. Now you can do the same exact thing if you're, refining your gold, or smelting your gold, because you can't really refine gold this way. You just smelt it. So pure gold can be smelted into a bar of pure gold, but most plastic gold isn't going to be. Most plastic gold isn't pure. Man, that's not lighting very quickly, is it? Well, there goes that. But most plastic gold, it's not 24 karat gold. Most plastic gold is down, all the way down to around 10. So to actually refine gold, you have to put it in a chemical process. That chemical process, you dissolve all the gold with whatever else is in it, and then you bring that acid down to a base level, and you drop each metal out individually and strain those out in their crystalline form. But it's the only way to actually get raw, pure gold. Well, not raw pure gold, but turn raw gold into pure gold. So, but after that's done doing that, I'm going to take the sulfides that I had fired before, I'll run it through my crusher real quick, and then put it in those little crucibles after I show you if there's even anything left after that, or I have no idea what's going to come out of that, but it'll be a final result, whereas this is not a final result yet. I still had to run this because not all of that did what it was supposed to, because of all the sulfur that was in there. It ate through the thin metal. So I've got my little crucibles in there, and most of the chemicals out of there that are going to eat away at the metal. So we're good. Anyhow, I'm going to let that go until it's ready. And then I'll bring it in the backyard, hook it up to the blower and everything. We'll get it up to temperature. So, see you guys here in a few minutes. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I got my catch fan that I'm going to use for everything that goes through here. What I've got here is the material from the other day that we ran through the mini kiln. I guess you could call it a kiln. It was like a homemade type of kiln, but I'm going to try and get what's in here out. So I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I lost some of it. Alright, so I got some of what was in there out. That's trash. So I got this bottom piece that came off of there. I'm going to throw that into the crusher. I'm going to do that first since it's metal, and I just want to get everything that's stuck to it off. Alright, so got everything off of there. Into my pan. See that? Metal now clean. Bye-bye. What I wanted was this stuff. That's where, you know, the better of the stuff that is in the material is probably at. Still needs to be crushed down, you know, down to a fine powder, but it's going to go directly back in. Do my best to get it in there. That fine powder I can leave. And if you're wondering if I'm going to be panning this material again, the answer is going to be yes. After I've run it through this crusher, I'm going to pan it, and then it'll go into the little crucibles that I have. They're made out of steel, but they work. I can't remember what they're from, but what I'm using. Alright, did I get that out of there? No, I didn't. So let's see what's coming out of that. That broke down a little bit. Not all the way, because there's still some pieces in there. There's a piece of gold right there. So, it's not devoid of gold. Anyhow, I'm going to crush up this stuff that was with it, and then I'm going to pan it all at one time. So, can't put it all in there. I'll just put some. Alright, that'll be good enough for now. That's good enough. Just didn't get it all. I did do a pretty good job. See that? So I left some rock. Now this is the reason why I don't fire just the raw sulfides by themselves. This is why I wash them first and then bring them down to the point of what that material is right there, because it's a lot easier to work with. Because that being roasted is actually almost a full bucket of material that I did that to, not just, you know, a cup, which this is the results from a cup, and this is the results from, say, a bucket. So, The reason why I do it that way instead of this way. Alright. Majority of that broke down. Alright, so getting the rest of these big pieces in there. That. Looks like most of this pretty well crushed. Looks pretty cleaned. Yeah, it's cleaned out. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this out real quick. And this camera with me. Well, looks like we got no ice today. Good. Okay, so this is all the material from the first time when I panned this stuff out. Now that I know what that is, I can put more water in that pan. I'm going to dump this probably somewhere as trash because it's pretty much not needed. Alright, so that stuff is very light. I'm not expecting to see anything much in this. Oh, where you go, little flake? Don't get stuck right there. Nobody will be able to see you. Yeah. Oh, stand up. That hurts the back. Let's see. I don't think that was a piece of gold I had saw. Darn. Not all thermal vents are going to have constant gold going through them, or if any at all. We'll see. We'll see after some of that gets laid down. There'll be at least a sample right there. It's not going to tell me exactly how much gold will be in there or anything like that, but may actually need to be refined by chemical to find out if you get any of the gold out of this material. You never know. But the refinery I took it to, they first told me there was something in it, and after that they told me there wasn't anything in it, and then another sample of a different material, they did the same thing. But I don't know. I don't know what to think sometimes. Never know. So I'm going to transport this into the backyard. It's about ready to go. So I'll be back here in a few minutes. Oh, no, let me pan that real quick. That'll help. Where's that pan? There it is. Okay. Alright, now let's see. I love the smell of sulfur. Let's see. Hoping to find something there. That's cold enough for me to see a little bit of my breath out here. Crazy. Some of these babies have come and doesn't want to go back in. Alright, looks like I might have a little piece there, I'm not too sure. No. Again, nothing. That's one of the reasons why I don't like sulfides. There's so little gold in most sulfides that you gotta have like a ton of that concentrated down material. Well, not that, but you have like a ton of this material that's in here. It's concentrated down. You have to have about a ton of that material for it to be feasible for you to run anything. And what you're doing is you're running the, say, pyrite gold, which is what I would rather call most of this. So you're running the pyrite gold to get the gold out of the pyrite, which it's a process, but it can be done. It's not a process most want to take part in. But I'm going to take this in the backyard and finish firing it off and see what comes out of that. I'm hoping maybe something, but if not, oh well. I'm going to do some of my other platinum ore like this and show you guys, see that hopefully in the next one of these episodes sometime down the road when I get around to it. But alright, see you soon in the backyard. Alright, so there it goes, getting hot again. Well, for its first time for this one. I already showed you nothing was found out of that one can that I had roasted in here. Not even a tiny little flake that I saw. But that's okay. We'll see if anything comes out of these. Not expecting too much, but we'll find out. I think I'm going to grab a couple more chunks of charcoal and throw that right on top of this. So, I'll show you what this looks like once it's cooled off. We'll be back. So, we've got a puddle of metal here, puddle of metal here, and it ate through, the metal iron bars and everything. So, I've got this crucible of material and all of these that still have burnt away there, whatever was in there. Hopefully I'll be able to get that material out of those. Don't know if I'll be able to, but if I can't just take it out after it's cooled, then I will break it out of there and then crush it all up. Hopefully there'll be a small little piece of gold in the bottom of each of them. No guarantees. I'm not expecting anything. So the only thing I would expect to find something out of. Ooh, that was a landmine I almost ran into. Would be this material here that I have. This material is gold ore and platinum ore. It's got a lot of really good stuff in it. It comes from close by, an area close to where I got that sulfides from, but it's not the same. This right here, I can pretty much guarantee you if I crush this and pan it, I'll find a piece of gold. But I'll also find a good amount of platinum, which would be actually pretty hard to separate the two, because the platinum's heavier than the gold. The gold rides on top of the platinum, and then you end up handing your gold right out of your pan. But I've done that many times. I thought to myself, the first time when I found that platinum material like that was, not gold. Strange. Until I panned, the tailings a couple times to get the last of the platinum out. I noticed the gold move prior to it. So that's going to cool off a little bit. And once it's cooled off, I'm going to see about getting the material out of there. But there's definitely some hot stuff back here. I don't know. I'm going to crush that up, see if anything came out of that also. So it's the bad thing about metal crucibles, everybody. They're always going to dissolve on you. So, and these were steel crucibles. They weren't aluminum or anything like that. So, high heat melts anything, but everything that was burnable burnt away real well. Let's see what that is down there. Whatever it is doesn't come off. You see how it boiled through. Well, I got some stuff to do while this cools off. Hope you guys enjoy this show. Not making too much sense to some of you, but some of you it might make sense to you. Hope some of this information is useful about sulfides. But the easiest way to deal with sulfides is you're going to want to run them through a chemical process, remove your platinum group metals from your sulfides that way, because, well, it's pretty much the only way. The safest way also. Well, if you're good with chemicals and you just have a place that can work with the chemical. So, gotta love fire pits in Vegas. Anytime you want, you can have a fire. Right in your own backyard. Dig a hole. Anyhow, I got things to do today. Talk to you later. Alright, so it's all cooled off for the most part. Oh, that's pretty stuck in there now. I think it welded itself to it. There we go. Alright, so, definitely ate a hole through to the bottom. Alright, so, this is likely going to have to be crushed out of there. I don't know if there's going to be anything in there or over here, but we'll find out. It's pretty stuck on there pretty well. Huh. It is well stuck there. see if I can get anything out of here. There we go. That one came off, but nothing came out yet. Bring it up in the light. Hope the focus is okay on that. It does look like I'm probably just going to have to crush this and pan it again, just to see what came out of it. Because there's a lot of overburden slag in there. Gotta get that piece out of there. Still has a bit of a gold color on the edge there. It does have metal down on the inside and bottom of it. So, gotta get through all of that before I can find out. Anyhow, I'm gonna crush this stuff out of here, see what comes up, and I'll let you guys know here in a few minutes. I'll be back. This one completely melted away. Interesting. Very interesting. There we go. Flaked off. Oh, I lost it. Let's see. It's definitely slag. Not sure what kind of metal it is. Well, I'll get this stuff all crushed up and find out what comes out of the rest of it. This is actually how it should look on the bottom. I don't know what these are going to look like or what this is going to look like in there, but I don't even know if it melted it down enough to get the gold to come to the bottom and pool up or not. I'm pretty sure this one did, but I don't know if it would have done any good to get anything out of there. Which is why, I did all this to show you guys that you kind of can't put your sulfides through fire refining. You have to run it through a chemical refining process. So you got to find a place that's worthy of taking it to, or just not even mess with it, because it's not worth messing with. But I'll show you that here in a little bit. And we get those pieces all over here and broken down a little bit. I'm gonna go get my hammer and do some stuff to this, and then I'm gonna throw it in a pan. I'll show you that. But let me get going on what I need to do before the sun goes away for today. That way, I can finish this off, and I'll show you guys. There's not much point in you trying to fire refine a bunch of sulfides, or really that much on pyrite of any kind, because it doesn't do anybody any good. But just wanted to show a lot of people why you can't and what happens with it when you do. So remember, if you want to have this kind of material, you're going to need to take it to a refiner and have them send it to a chemical leaching place. And that's pretty much the only way you can take care of sulfides, is chemical leach. So I'll be back. I'm going to go take care of some stuff. Enjoy. Alright, so I'm out of the panning area with the material from earlier. I'm going to crush it here in a second. I just wanted to get some water in the pan. So the water's ready. Got my material. I'm going to put that in the crusher. hand. I don't want to touch the stuff. So I'm going to start with the larger chunks of slag, and I'm going to crush that up. Now, there's a few pieces of metal and stuff like that in here too, but I'm not all that worried about that. Just want to get these large pieces out of the way. The rest of this material is stuff that didn't get hot enough to melt down. So, which there's a good amount of it. Alright, so let's go pan this stuff off real quick. Swirling the material at first. Alright, so if there's anything there, it's down on the bottom if it's heavy. So I'm going to do my left and right shaking motion to bring my material into its focal point. Once I've done that, give this a quick wash off. There's a small piece of slag left in there. If it was dry, I'd put it in the crusher. I'll reach in there by hand and get rid of it. Alright, so there's some of the heavy sulfides left in there. Nothing. What looks like gold is just more of the pyrite that's in there that didn't burn away. Oh wait, actually I guess I'll need that for after I crush this up. Let me get this crushed up real quick. I'm going to take this material, put it in my pan. So there's only a few pieces of slag metal in there, that are probably pieces of iron. Yep, definitely iron went out real easy. Yeah, that's part of a crucible. Alright. So not even a thing that looked like it could have been pyrite. So there you go. Just to show you, trying to fire your heavy sulfides and stuff doesn't do you very much good. Now I'll show you another metal I have. It comes out of a rock that you can crush up and actually get something out of like that, but just not now because I don't have the time for doing it in the next couple of weeks or anything, but one day I'll show you. Anyhow, I hope you all enjoyed checking out the how to fire roast some sulfides and then maybe actually put some into a kiln. But either way, don't mess with it. It doesn't do you any good anyhow. just take it, send it off to a chemical refiner, and be done with it. If you can't find a good chemical refiner, then don't even worry about it, and you probably won't be getting enough gold out of it to even make a difference anyhow. But anyhow, talk to y'all soon. Have a good day.